as I was finishing the book, I kept calling my friend who's written about 4 books, and he's like, really, I understood what he's trying to prepare me for, but it was really evil. But he would say to me, I'd be like, "Hey man, I got to talk to you about the book. I'm working on this." And he'd be like, "Hey man, you know what?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "None of your friends are gonna read your book." And
It's true though.
I'm like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah, none of them. No one's gonna read it. They're just gonna buy it. No one's gonna read your book, especially your friends." I'm like, "Well, what if I ask them to read it?" He's like, "No." He goes, you write a book for the people who don't know you.
You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. Today's episode is sponsored by the book that will empower you, encourage you, and through its expression help you to advance to your next level. Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success by this guy right here you're hearing. And the good news is you can now hear the book on audiobook. So head over to Amazon.com or Audible.com or Apple Music, pick up the audiobook. And that's today's sponsor. Go out and buy a copy or a few of Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success, and advance north to your next level of greatness. Welcome again to the wonderful Going North podcast, where we got some super special, awesome humans with some super special, awesome stories who put pen to paper and publish their freaking work because, my goodness, you're in for a treat today, my friends. You're in for a treat today because, my goodness, like this guy right here, recognized by Forbes in the top 50, the CEO and host of his own show that's in the top, actually, if I'm not mistaken, top 0.5% of all podcasts in the world, according to listnotes.com. Consultant, speaker, YouTube, coach with numerous awards, just name a few. The top 50 most retweeted by digital marketers, the top 15 influencer of CES show by DigiObos and Webinars top 20 influencer. And the list goes on and on for probably 35 plus freaking years because he's a 35 plus year serial entrepreneur with over 300,000 people with his social media accounts to boot. So let's give it up for the legendary CV himself, the champ, the victor himself, Chris Voss of the Chris Voss Show. How you doing today, Chris?
Yay! Oh wait, is this me? Oh shit! I thought whoever this was sounded really cool. Sounded really cool. Hey, thanks, man. Where's the Dom? Where's the Dom Perignon? My staff told me this is the Dom show. Is there Dom Perignon? What year are we looking at here?
This is shades of episode 1 already.
Shades of episode 1. What kind of is this like? This is like that Shades of Gray, Dorian Gray thing, whatever. Hey, well, thanks for having me on the show, Dom. I certainly appreciate it, man. It's an honor to be here.
Man, it's an honor to have you, man, because my goodness, like the folks you interview, the life that you're living now, and like so many lessons to learn. And I'm actually was able to be one of the lucky first 100 to grab your newest, latest, and
Oh
greatest
yeah,
book,
you were.
Beacons of Leadership.
You were. I think you got episode 2 or something, didn't you? Number
Yeah,
2.
man.
What number did you get?
Yeah, got number 2. I'm like,
You got
yes,
number 2. Yeah.
yeah.
You nailed that thing right as soon as it came out. I gave them out in the order that they sold. So you were like the second person who bought one. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah.
That's right. Silver medal swag, baby. Even though
Yeah.
gold's better, silver medal's still good too.
There's a second book coming out on the 15th, I think. So, yeah. You can use the book plate to put it in that one if that one sells better and I become famous over that one. Whichever one I become famous in, just put the book plate in. Still waiting for the Playgirl edition to come out with my photo centerfold thing.
Oh God.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Man, oh man, my goodness. Well, I'm guessing having a sense of humor is one of your keys to success.
No, no, I'm just highly depressed most of the time. But that's what most comedians are, so it works.
Okay.
That was kind of a dark funny there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You're like,
it
do I
really
laugh at
was.
that? Got
It
images
r-
of Robin Williams on a coat hanger. Like, do I laugh on that, or is that for real? No, I'm just kidding, man. I suffer from massive depression, not mild depression. Anyway, no, funny is funny. I like making people laugh.
Oh, I could tell because I've heard some of your past episodes, and you, sir, are a freaking golden champion at what you do, my friend. So definitely.
Yeah, can I have you as a wingman when I go out to clubs to pick up on women, and you can tell them how great I am? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, sure, why not? Be like, yeah, I'll be your chocolate wingman.
Yeah, Chris's golden whatever you just said. That sounds awesome, man. I'll be like, look, references. Well, wait, that's weird. Never mind. That really backfired on me, didn't it? References. What? He has references? Where he been? Anyway, moving on. We should probably move on at this point or talk football.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Go Ravens since I'm in Baltimore. But my goodness,
Oh,
forget about.
Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
You know,
indeed.
you know, I love the Ravens. The height of my football enjoyment, and it's never been the same since, was watching who's the running back for the Ravens that was just epic. Who retired, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Um Earl? No. I used to tune in to see him every Sunday. And
Oh,
I'm
you
a
talking about Ray
Raiders.
Lewis?
Ray Lewis, man. Yeah, Ray Lewis. I used to tune in to watch him every Sunday, and I'm a Raiders fan, so I don't care about the Ravens. That's your problem. But that Flacco guy's your problem. Um, is he still quarterback? But no, Ray Lewis, man. There's nobody. He's one of those people who was like Michael Jordan, just the love of the game and being a brute force gladiator. That guy was a monster, and even though I wasn't a Ravens fan, I just loved to watch him play. You just watched, you just watch football, and after that, I've never really gotten into football ever since he retired.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Because dude was a
Yeah,
freaking force on the field and a force on the mic. And speaking of a force on the mic, you're a force on the mic yourself with all the stuff that you're
yeah,
doing. So, did you ever
yeah.
see yourself where you are today, being a published author, being a social media influencer with all the success you have and the success that's to come?
Not really. No, I thought I'd be in a mobile home with 10 kids and a revolver in my mouth, but there's still time. So
My God. Well, the 10 kids, I mean, well, I'm sure there's a willing party out there, tons of them,
well,
women
I'm in
outnumbers.
Utah. Yeah, it'll all work out. So yeah, I wrote a book recently. Got a show. I don't know. I really had aspirations. I was thinking I'd be like an astronaut or a firefighter or a lawyer or something cool, but no, I'm just this.
That's right. A kid who grew up introverted who is now an extrovert, right?
You read my book. Wow.
Oh, yeah, try to do my homework.
Yeah, good for you, man. I'm really happy. There's about 5 people who've read it. As I was finishing the book, or I was going through the last couple months of the book, I kept calling my friend who's written about 4 books, and he's like, really, I understood what he's trying to prepare me for, but it was really evil. But he would say to me, I'd be like, hey man, I got to talk to you about the book. I'm working on this, and he'd be like, hey man, you know what? And I go, what? And he goes, none of your friends are gonna read your book. And
It's true, though.
I'm like, are you serious? He goes, yeah, none of them. No one's gonna read it. They're just gonna buy it. No one's gonna read your book, especially your friends. I'm like, well, what if I ask them to read it? He's like, no, no, your friends aren't gonna read your stupid book. He goes, you write a book for the people who don't know you, so they can get to know you. But everybody who knows you isn't gonna read your book. And he would tell it to me every time. Like I'd call him up, be like, hey man, I got some questions. He'd be like, you know what? What? No one's gonna read your book. And I'm like, man, you're brutal, dude. But he was right. Like all my friends I put in the advanced reader copy, he was like, dude, we sent out our book on the advanced reader copy to 800 media and all these people so that we would get hundreds of reviews. We got like 10. And I'm like, he's like, so just be ready, man. It's gonna hurt. And I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? But I've got 17, so I'm doing okay. I think it's up to 17 now.
Woohoo! One more and the book becomes legal. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, hey, there you go. 3 more can start drinking.
Yeah, the book.
So I put out my first book called Beacons of Leadership. It's at beaconsofleadership.com. You can go see it or you can find it anywhere. Even in Japan for sale. That's kind of cool. It's really weird when I saw it on a Japan site. I was like, what? And then I actually have a handbook, condensed version of it without all the big long stories. And it just kind of gets right to the point. That's hopefully going to be coming out on the 15th. And so we'll have that, it's kind of the abridged version. It's going to be like a thing that we can say, hey, if you buy one, get one free, or if you want the handbook one, or we can do all sorts of deals with it and different things. So we kind of made a condensed version of it. I think we're throwing in some stories that hit the cutting room floor from the first book. So there's some extra juice in there that didn't make the first book, but it's kind of like one of those things that people might buy or read. And we're targeting it differently, and then they'll read the other thing. But yeah, I wrote about some of my success in life of being a CEO, and some of my life experiences and business experiences. Basically a book for someone out there who's struggling in business, struggling to start a company, save a company, run a company, and some of the different tricks and tips that I use, my CEO, what I call my CEO toolbox. And so I put that in there, some of the different axioms that I use to help me, succeed or get out of jams. And a lot of stories of survival in there. A lot of interesting stories of survival. At least I thought so, because I had to live it. But it's kind of one of those great books. I think you'll have to remind me. I think in the end or the preface, I actually thanked all my enemies that I outed in the book. I didn't really out any enemies. I didn't name them, at least that way, but I outed their stories. And I thanked all the people who are just really awful to me and betrayed me and tried to screw me and destroy me. And I was like, thanks to you, I have a great bunch of stories for this book. So there's a lesson for you in life. Just remember, anytime someone's betrays you or is crappy to you, just remember that's a story for a book someday. You're going to make millions on speaking tours, telling on the stages. So be careful who you screw over in the future. I guess I don't know.
Well, there you go. My man's been dropping gems already. That's right. That's right, indeed. You got to write books for the people who don't know you just yet, and you got to realize that your friends may not read your book. They're probably not going to read them. Like, heck,
Yeah.
even my
Well, your
sister.
friends know you, and they're just like, "Well, we know you're fucked up, but now you can give your people to you can give your book to people." I hope I can swear on the show. Yeah, you can give your book to people who don't know you're screwed up, and then they'll know you're screwed up. And so, pretty much, you can eventually convince the whole world that you're a freaking mess, which is pretty much my mission in life.
Well, hey, your mess has made you a millionaire multiple times over. Heck, even one of my favorite stories, since you mentioned the folks that were your enemies that ended up becoming your basically fodder for this book, is the when you were in McDonald's working and they didn't like your long hair.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that was a great story. That's how I became an entrepreneur. Everyone is asked, like, how did you become an entrepreneur? And they think there's like something where I was like, well, I grew up, went to an Ivy League college, and then my dad was the CEO of GE, and he, there's some sort of beautiful trajectory or something of some, I don't know. And no, man, I was a stupid kid, which nothing's really changed. And I had long hair. I was a rocker. I listened to Van Halen and heavy Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest, and went to all these concerts, and that was the heyday. 1984 Van Halen, David Lee Roth. Um, and and I lived in Utah, and so Utah is highly religious, which is it's an annoying state in and of itself. Like, everyone treated me like the great Satan because, I'm not religious and I'm going to, the satanic Van Halen concerts because everyone knows that, they sacrifice lambs on stage and they're of the devil, clearly, Anyway, um, it just seems so silly to look back on now. Seriously, Van Halen. So one of the religious managers at McDonald's took a shine to me with my long hair, and he just wanted to really bully me. And so he finally, it came down to cut your hair or else. And I was like, "What's else?" And he fired me. And so I learned how to do the stucco business from my dad during the summers as a kid, not really intending to ever go in the business because we hated it. But he's like, "Why don't you just go do that business?" He goes, he'd shut it down a few years before, and he goes, the trowels and all the gears in the back shed, and I still have the accounts at the builder supply, so you can buy the cement and do the stucco thing, and you know how to do it. Why don't you just go do it and make some money before you go to college? And I was like, sure. And I remember printing my first business card and seeing my name on it, and I thought I still have them to this day. I was like, that's really cool. That's really neato. And yeah. And so I started my first company 18, and it's been a hell of a ride. Bro, I'm thinking of quitting and going back to McDonald's.
You don't ain't that happening. That ain't happening.
I mean, those Big Macs are pretty good, really.
But I guess you would consider yourself a Big Mac since you do all sorts of wonderful stuff in so many different areas that folks would dream of doing, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. Do people really dream about writing books and stuff? Because for me, it was like a nightmare. I think for everyone writing a book, it's a nightmare. It's really hard. Near the end, when I was in the editing phase, that seemed like it was never going to end. And it's just a brutal thing where you have an editor who just basically you hand them your pages, like I think I wrote like 60, 70,000 words, and they literally hand you back like a page, and they go, "This is the only good stuff. You're gonna have to just start over." And they just take a giant steaming crap on everything you do, and they take all of your stuff, and like you give them a 5,000 word chapter and it comes back with 1,000 words. You're like, "What did you do with the 4,000 words?" Oh crap, yeah, just rewrite all that. That's awful. And fortunately, I had enough friends that were authors, and they're like, "You got to trust the process. You got to trust the editor." And I'm like, "I don't know, man." But I had a good editor. And the hardest part is they've got to preserve your voice so it still sounds like you in the writing. um but it was hard because you pour your soul out. This is your book. You pour your whole life and soul out. You're like, I live this crap. And somebody just, it's like a dog that comes along and just pees on your paperwork, and you're just like, what the hell, man? That was my life. And so I would call my friends up and I'd be like, I'm ready to throw this out the window. I screw this whole thing. I don't want to be an author. I don't care anymore. I give up on the whole thing. I'm just so done with it all. And they go, no, 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 man. You're almost there. The when you want to quit, throw it out the window and walk away, you're almost there. I'm like, you people are mad. Like, this is insane. Like, who does this to themselves over and over again? Like, who writes more than one book? Like, what kind of masochist is into this crap? This is the worst S&M experience I've ever had. And I didn't even, I'm not even getting paid for this. This is the worst OnlyFans channel ever. So fortunately, I had a lot of my friends and they gave me advice, like my one friend, you call him up. He's like, none of your friends are going to read your book. Oh, thanks, man. So it's brutal. So I wrote a book, and I hope it helps people. I hope it helps. I came across one of the people that were in my podcast. She says, I used to write my books, and I used to struggle with writing. And she's like, I met this gal one time, one of my book signings, and she had been in prison. And she told me a story about how my book helped save her and get her to turn around her life in prison. and get on the right path. And turns out my book is really popular, at least at her prison she was in, and a lot of the women there helped them. So she keeps a picture of this gal by her desktop. So when she writes to that gal. And in the back of the book, I put that in there. I put in, yeah, I know that, somewhat near the end, I was really struggling. I was having a really bad day and wanted to quit again. And one of my author friends reached out and she says, you got to remember there's somebody out there who needs this book. There's somebody out there who needs this advice and they desperately need it. And you're the only one who's going to give it to them. And you're going to come in at the right moment and they're going to find it. And you've got to do this book for them, man. You're the savior for them. You gotta be there. And that really gave me some fuel and got me through it. And so I put that at the end of the book. And so I hope people read it and learn something from it. That, or it makes a nice, if you got a wobbly table, you can stick it under one of the legs.
So it'll be a beacon of hope and leadership, huh?
Yeah, or a table balancer, one of the two.
There you go. It'll
Makes
be
a
the
nice
beacon of
coffee.
alt.
It'll be a coffee holder. You can do whatever you want. It's your book. I mean, you buy it. I don't care what you do with it. It's not my problem anymore. Just be nice to it. Just write nice reviews, please. Do whatever you want with the book. Just write nice reviews. But no, it's a lot of great stories. I don't know. Just a lot of great stories, a lot of different living through stuff. I hope some people read it and they go, "Wow, man, if you got through that, I can get through anything."
Oh yeah, definitely can see that again. Indeed, yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, further down the road, the recession hits you really hard, like a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The recession wiped out everything. They wiped out all the companies we built, and all the money and everything. Took everything down. I built all of our companies thinking that they would last me for a lifetime. We'd have a little empire when we were done. And the recession took everything out. Like you couldn't get anything done during the recession. And I was starting all sorts of little companies and projects and hustles and just anything to make a dime. As watch my mortgage company sink. There's so many mortgage companies that got wiped out with the recession. Pretty much the whole business got wiped out for the most part. And our career company, just all this stuff just went down the toilet. And I remember one friend said to me, he says, you tried so many things to survive the recession, make money, and save your companies. He goes, if it came out of the news tomorrow that you were you would become an international arms dealer and you're illegally selling M16s down on the Palestinians or something, he goes, I wouldn't be surprised, man. He goes, you're just trying as hard as you can. I'm like, well, that's great. It doesn't help me right now, but I'll remember that someday. But and I finally found something that stuck. Thankfully, social media came along right about then, and I started playing with it. And then people started calling me, going, "Hey, you're really good at this thing. Show us what to do." And I started the Chris Voss Show podcast back then. Was that 2009? And yeah, I don't know. It's been a kind of fun ride doing social media and YouTube and podcasting and all the weird stuff in between.
There you go. That's right. It's like PB&J with a random tomato in the middle, right?
I don't even know what that means, but it's disturbing to think about. Did you see peanut butter and jelly with tomato in it?
Yeah, you said all the weird stuff in between.
That's definitely okay. I see the connection there. Okay, yeah, that's I'm never gonna be able to look at peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the same again if it's next to a tomato. That's fucked up, man. Really fucked up. Scarred for life, man. It's like stuck in my head like Two Girls in a Cup. This is stuff you can't see now. Who puts a tomato anyway, man? I don't know. Man, who hurt you? Who hurt you? Dude, that's like so sociopathic to even share with anyone. Butter, jelly, and tomato sandwich. I want to read the book about your child then. Fuck. Somebody needs to talk to your mom, man.
Well, don't worry. That didn't actually happen to me. I was just using the power of creativity.
That was a good creativity, man. That was a good creativity. See, I'm scarred from my mom like Eddie Murphy was in Raw. Remember the bit that Eddie Murphy did with in Raw where he did the bit about the hamburger, the McDonald's hamburger, and his mom wouldn't cut the onions and she wouldn't dice the onions and dice the bell peppers. She just put like a giant bell pepper in the thing. That's how my mom was. She loved us, but she would never dice the bell peppers and onions. You'd have this burger, there'd be stuff sticking out of it. So that's what that reminds me of.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. That's a great association indeed.
I think I think if you do a book, that should be the title of it. Peanut butter jelly and tomato sandwiches.
Oh God.
That would fucking wreck, man. That'd be awesome. That would be the best shit. I would buy that book just off the title, man. Maybe it could be the guy's version of fried green tomatoes. Remember that chick movie? You could have that could be a guy's movie, peanut butter tomato sandwiches. It's like really messed up.
Just messing up with all the
Have the police
buds.
checked your basement, man? I mean, you just came up with that. I'm really worried now. I treat you like Bill Cosby. I'm not taking any drinks from you.
Don't worry, that's not my steez. Definitely not mine. I'm good on that.
Would you like a peanut butter and jelly tomato sandwich? Where's the door? It puts the lotion in the basket.
Lotion in the basket? Oh no. Well, since we're on the subject of food, if this particular book, Beacons of Leadership, was a food item, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. It would be a tiramisu pie because I don't know why. It's just gold and I don't know. Tiramisu's kind of goldy, isn't it? I don't know. It would be a tiramisu. Yeah. Cake, pie, whatever tiramisu is. I never know what it is. The chicks always order it when you go out. I'm ordering tiramisu. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess I'm biased.
Why do chicks always order tiramisu? They always order that and calamari. And the calamari comes and then they're grossed out because they're like, yeah, it looks like little fried squid. That's because it is, honey. Moron.
Maybe it's because it rhymes with Ferrari.
Ferrari, calamari. That could be it. I don't know, man. They always think it's I don't know. I think they think it's like the high end of the thing. You know, if they were really honest, they would eat that big ass steak, but they have to be like, oh, I'm a dainty little thing. I'm just gonna have my calamari salad and tiramisu.
And then starve themselves later.
Throw it up later, probably. This is a day a lot of models. That's where that joke comes from. Sorry,
guys. There you go. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Well, speaking of models, my man actually decided to be a role model when it comes to helping out the youth as well. Because if you meet a little young entrepreneur, I'd say like a Girl Scout age, you would actually buy whatever the product is if they would at least make an attempt to pitch you.
Yeah, whether boys or girls. That sounds like it was a weird segue from the modeling thing to Girl Scouts. I didn't date them that young. I mean, they had to be over 18. But people haven't read the book right now. What the fuck is going on?
Don't worry.
Like a weird segue you set me up there with, Dom.
Well, you said model, that just transferred over to role model.
You took that right into Girl Scouts, man. Like, what the hell? Wait, he pays girls for cookies? Isn't this an OnlyFans show?
Oh,
no, the one story that Tom's referencing in the book. Now I really have to explain it. My parole agent's ringing my phone right now. My ankle bracelet's going off. So this is really dark. This is a dark show, man. Between the depression and anyway. So no, one thing I learned is when I was the story is when I was 10 or 11, I had to sell. I was a Boy Scout, so I had to sell Scoutorama tickets, and I wanted to go see the Dodgers. And I lived in LA, and I was a big Dodgers fan. And Steve Garvey, I remember, was the big Dodgers thing. I like the Oakland A's too. I who's the guy during the '70s who was so great in the Oakland A's? Reggie, was it Reggie? I don't know. Anyway, but I like the Oakland A's, but I was a Dodgers fan. And so I had Steve Garvey and Tommy Lasorda. This is a golden age of their thing. And so I really wanted to go to the game. So I had to sell, like, I think it was like 40, 45 tickets to the Scoutorama thing. And this is in the '70s, right after the Depression and the oil embargo and the gas prices and stuff. And people were mean, man. They weren't like they are now. And they were mean. And so I had to sell like a bunch of these tickets. And I remember being in a store one time all by myself, because that's what parents did back then. Parents were always trying to get rid of you. They're like, yeah, we'll drop him off at the store and come back 4 or 5 hours later and see if he's still there. If not, that's cool, man. He's just one less mouth to feed. And my parent, that was the days when your mom would leave you in the car and tell you to stay in there while she went in the store, and then she put a sticker on the thing. She put like a little label on the window saying just pick one, have at it, free. So I had to sell these tickets to the thing, and I remember it was so hard standing there outside the grocery store and asking people, hey, do you want to buy some tickets? And they were so mean to me. And I remember thinking to myself, I made this promise to myself, and it was kind of one of those grit your teeth promises. Like, you're like, I'm going to freaking do this. And someday I'm going to get my revenge, or someday I'm going to make sure this never happens to anybody else again. And so I promised myself there and then that if I ever got, bigger and successful, that if I ever met anybody selling stuff, out in front of a store, or, hustling some sort of little thing, sweepstakes or school stuff and things, that I would support them. Anytime some young kid is out there throwing lemonade, or selling Girl Scout cookies, or whatever they're doing. Like, I've had everybody come up to me. Usually it's some school thing, school fundraising thing. And so I always make it a point. I made a promise in that moment that I would do that. That I would, if I ever came across young kids out trying to schlep something like I was, that I would stop and listen to them. I would support them, and I give them encouragement. And I always have. If I go into a store and a young person comes up to me and says, hey, they've got a pitch or whatever it is, I'll stop, I'll listen, I'll respect them, I won't be mean to them. I'll usually buy whatever they're doing. I've been known just to, because the Girl Scouts, they sell those evil cookies, and I know what I'm going to do with the box of mints when I get home. I'm going to get naked in my beanbag chair and just eat all those chocolate mint cookies, and it's not going to look good when I get up hours later in some sort of sugar haze. And so like, it's like green and fudge all over you when you're naked in a beanbag chair watching TV, playing Call of Duty or something. We've all been there. We've all been there, right, Dom? I'm gonna do that
Some
right after the
people.
show. Some people. So those grasshopper chunks get in all the wrong places, though. That's the only problem. But
What in the
don't even get me started on those samba. What are they called? The samba things, the coconut ones. Anyway, so I always listen to them. I support them. I've been known to just give them $20 and be like, keep the cookies, because I'm just gonna eat them and get fatter. So here's $20. Yeah, you just met your luxury buyer client. And sometimes I'll give them some advice, but I'm always nice to them. And it's kind of fun because people will see me being nice to them and realize that they're being dicks by being, ignoring these kids or being mean to them. And I'll see other adults start stopping and listening. And so it's a good example for other adults. And I just look at it this way. There's a future Chris Voss out there somewhere, maybe a little entrepreneur that I'm getting started, and just by giving a little bit of hope and giving a little bit of support, and some cash, he can have a good self-esteem, and maybe he'll be the next Elon Musk. Who knows? You never know.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can say that again, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Being a good role model and
I
using
probably
your
should take their
past.
names and track them just in the case they do become the next Elon Musk. Because I'll be like, hey, I want my $20 back in the interest, man. I helped you. I hooked you up. I got you here, man. Give me some stock.
Oh, that would be freaking hilarious.
Jeff,
It's
give
like,
me a
yeah,
ride in your penis rocket. Come on, man.
the hell?
The Jeff Bezos penis rocket. Have you seen that thing?
And they were wearing cowboy hats, which made it
Yeah, they were
even
in
more
cowboy
funny.
hats with it. Yeah. It's like a whole scene from the end of what was that Peter Sellers movie? How I Learned to Live with the Bomb. Yeah. Where the yokel dudes at the end with the cowboy hat riding the nuclear bomb. Yeah. How old are you, Dom? You're like a millennial or something because you're not getting any of the references I'm getting from the 70s.
Yeah, man, actually 30.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go. Oh, that's okay. We won't hold it against you.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, hooray. Because that man's freaking hilarious.
You
So
were
when you're
probably the kid at the Smith store that I gave $20 to for school fundraiser candy. Jesus Christ.
I've never been to Utah, so I think I'm okay on that
All
one.
right.
It's not me, so you won't have
Done
to
in
get the.
Vegas too, so I don't know where you're at, but yeah.
Oh man! So when you're on the guest side of the game like this, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
That's a really good question. Actually, that question in itself is really you got some good questions, so I don't know. No, I never really sit there and I don't really think about what questions, like I don't have any hidden questions that I want people to ask me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe what my sign is. No one ever asks what my sign is. I don't know if that's what that. I'm just reaching for stuff. I don't even know what I'm grabbing. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I just leave it up to people, and I don't know. Like I never feel incomplete after a podcast where I'm like, I wish they would have asked me about my collection of hentai dolls or something, or I don't know. Some my Star Wars Lego collection, which I don't have. By the way, I don't have either of those, but I'm fascinated by people are into it.
Man said hentai
Like
doll collection.
I'm always honestly, Don, I just got to be honest with you, man. I've always just wanted people to ask me why it is I dress up in cosplay privately as who's that chick from the suicide group or whatever, that all the girls dressed
Oh,
up for Halloween this year. Like every girl on Instagram dressed up as her, that crazy chick. I mean,
oh,
the crazy
Harley
chicks dress up
Quinn.
as crazy. Yeah, Harley Quinn. Yeah, everybody for Halloween dressed up as that girl. So yeah, I cosplay as her in my private time. So I'm always disappointed no one ever asked about that. That's a really disturbing image, isn't it? I started really painting that in my head, and now I totally regret going down this road. Lots of regrets.
I guess it still doesn't beat the tomato in the middle of a PB&J sandwich, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you go down a road as a comedian, and then you end up disturbing yourself. And you're just like, wow, that guy really got really dark. Oh, even I'm scared.
He has now realized part of his
He's real.
potential. He's released a new level potential.
It's like on TikTok. It was at this moment he realized he fucked up.
Oh my goodness, man! Oh man! Oh, we're coming.
You're fun, Don. I'll come on every week, man. You're great. I love it. Man. I just come over here and do my jokes and.
Yeah, because you're freaking hilarious, dude. Like, my man is freaking on fire. Like, you don't have a podcast for 12 years without being entertaining. Heck,
I don't know about that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I make my girlfriend laugh every time I take off my clothes. So I don't know. It seems to work for her. She just points the whole time and giggles.
She's
Which is
pointing
weird because
north.
I'm never really doing any jokes. So I don't know what that's about. She's a bitch.
Haven't laughed this much since the Tom Antion episode.
I haven't
Oh my
heard someone
God.
laugh this much since my girlfriend saw me naked last. The
Oh God.
I mean, we just call it foreplay around here.
I guess that's the real game of golf, huh?
Yeah. When I really want to turn her on, I order up one of those P&J. Is that what they call it? Peanut butter and jelly with tomato sandwiches.
It's the new thing for the vegans. That's right.
Ew. Whole nutter butter egg there going on. Do you put mayo on that too? Like, I mean, because don't you have to have mayo with tomato? So you go mayo, tomato. That could make it worse, couldn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
That or Miracle Whip. Oh, I think I'm
no.
going to start dry heaving.
Oh God.
You know, I think you need to do a podcast where you're like, what's the worst food combinations ever? And that's all you ever talk about is you do, like, every time you do a show, you take a premise of a certain amount of food items, like the Iron Chef show, with like, you have shrimp and crab that you have to deal with today, and a secret ingredient, which is like, I don't know, dog feces. Turn it into a meal. And you know, the cooks are always like, what the fuck? And petrified dog turds from your backyard. And I think you should do a show of them. I think you should do a show where you basically give them a premise. You give them like 4 food items, and they have to think of the most disgusting combination that they can make with those food items or something.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's an idea that's gonna definitely go in the bucket. That's right, the idea bucket. That's right. Now maybe drink from it later. Just maybe. That's right.
Yeah.
Just maybe drink from it later. So speaking of podcasts, you've been doing this for 12 years and you've been advancing and growing and really taking feedback and getting better. Any 3 major tips you want to give to aspiring podcasters out there who may need some inspiration to start or even keep going?
The best thing is to be a good host. Work on being a good host. Watch a lot of Johnny Carson. Stephen Colbert is someone I watch a lot of. And who else? Who's the shock jock on Sirius XM? I always forget his name.
Oh, Howard Stern?
Howard Stern, yeah. Howard Stern is pretty good on interviews. But one of my favorite people to watch for interviews is Johnny Carson. And a lot of times when I grew up watching Carson, I thought Carson was just kind of lazy and flippant, and I, I didn't, you know, sometimes he's really on and sometimes he's really off. At least that's what I thought. And being a host for all these years, I've learned a lot. And watching Carson, you learn that Carson's actually on the game pretty much 99% of the time. It's just whether or not he likes the guest or whether the guest is interesting or not. But he does what he can. But you can tell when you can tell where he's at if you spend enough time watching Johnny. And Johnny is really amazing as a host. He's really amazing as a host. And so I would tell people watch Johnny Carson, but really focused on being a great host, really package the show, be entertaining, know when to jump in and save the show if you need to. Try and book great guests that are media savvy, or tell them they need to be media savvy before they show up on the damn show. And be consistent, do it often. You know, I meet these people that are like, I do a show once every 3 months. No, man, you got to do a show often. There's a reason great radio shows are every day, at least on weekdays, or of some sort of frequency. You can't really do a show like very infrequently. Your readers, the people are either addicted to you and they listen to your stupid crap like they do mine, or they're not. They go find something else they can be addicted to. They love consuming. They love binging. And so you got to give them a lot of content, a lot of stuff to listen to, and that will keep them engaged. If you don't, then they tend to wander off and they go find somebody else who's entertaining and interesting. And sometimes you are the flavor of the week. That happens. There's people that I liked it for about 3 months and I get sick of your stupid rap. But be a good host, ask great questions like you do. You did a great job tonight, asking me a lot of great questions that no one ever asks. I usually sit and sometimes I'll look at, depending upon who the guest is, and I'll try and come up with questions that I didn't hear before. Do your research before shows. I usually watch other people's videos and I watch, the questions they were asked, especially, a lot of our guests are national media people. So I'll watch the shows they're interviewed on. I'll try and figure out what questions they didn't get asked because a lot of times they'll appear on media and they've got like 3 minutes, and so they usually have to just bang through uh, a short list of topics. But on my show they've got longer, and so I have a chance to ask more questions. So I try and ask questions that may haven't been covered before, that people might want to ask, and I try and think of like what would my audience ask if they had the power that I had right now in my hands to ask this person whatever I want them to. And I've made guests cry. I think they made me cry. I think we all cried together. It was like Brian Gumble real sports moment a few times there. For a while there was like every show is starting to turn into a cry fest. But we really dug through the soul of some of our guests. And those are my tips. I know that's more than three, but I over deliver.
And that you do. Amen to that, folks. Well, there you have it, folks. My man's been dropping gold, and not just because his book cover is colored gold, y'all. My man is a walk-in Fort Knox, baby. That's right. He's got a lot of wisdom.
Walking Fork Knots. I wish, man. Would you, if you were Fort Knox, would you want to be walking? That sounds really insecure. Like you're getting the wrong hood or something. I think it's better to keep that all on the ground.
There you go. That's right. Keep it
I keep
under
the
the
Fox
hood.
hood. I keep the Fort Knox in my pants, basically. I think that's where.
Ah, alrighty. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive on that note. If you're to wake up tomorrow in the current year with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself? Oh yeah, by the way, you're 25 too, so you basically go back a few years at the boot. So you're basically younger with all the knowledge you have now in the current year.
What if I could go back to when I was younger? I would say go to counseling and get some help with the ADD. Get on some medication, buddy. But yeah, I should get on the counseling after my teens, and that would be my advice. That'd be my advice to everybody. If you have trauma in your childhood, go get some help. You fix it. Don't wait until you're 50 to fix it like I did. So yeah, don't drag it through your whole life. If you suffer depression, if you suffer issues, you suffer trauma, go see a therapist and get it fixed early. It's that's the advice I give people. That, and do the hard work when you're young and early and invest in the future, because when you're getting old, you're just too tired to do it. So there's that. Is that good advice? You're really quiet right now. You're like, it's the dumbest advice I've ever heard.
Oh nah. Sometimes you gotta let things sit once in a while and let it just sit so folks can drink
There
it
you go.
in, man.
Yeah. See, I knew
It
this
was
was a Dom Perignon show.
yeah, callback. I love it. Yes.
You got it.
My goodness. 10 out of 5 stars for this guy right here. My goodness. My goodness. My man is on fire. It's so darn true. Like, hey, if you need help, like, go ahead and get it as fast as you can. Like, fix problems as soon as you can fix them, because you don't want to wait until, lose time and then you're like, crap, I got regrets about this. And
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
let that help
money
you
would
meet.
fix all my problems. I think a lot of people think that. And you know, a lot of people think money and success fixes all your problems. It just amplifies them. Whatever your problems are, whatever your issues are, whatever, you know, however messed up you are, it just makes everything worse. And you know, I always have these people that come up to me and they'll be like, yeah, when you become successful, when you become rich, your life is just easier. It's like, no, you have a whole new zoo of alligators. It just gets bigger and bigger. The tightrope just goes higher and higher. The circus just gets bigger and bigger that's around you. And it just gets harder. You know, it's not everyone thinks when you get rich, you get, you know, successful, you know, it becomes like easy street. You're just like, I just sit around in my smoking jacket and I don't know, some you know, in front of some fireplace with books or something. I don't no man, it's hard. Everyone sues the hell out of you. You're suing the hell out of everybody else. You know, people are always trying to shake you down for money or borrow money. It's a whole new level of whatever. Like I always thought that all my problems and all my issues and all my hangups and whatever sort of, I don't know, mental problems I had through my life. I'm like, I just get money and it'll fix everything. You know, I can buy everything I want. I'll get all the toys I want, and the cars I want. And no, man, it just, however you're messed up, it just makes it worse. And you end up sabotaging and just causing wreckage. And so, yeah, if you have stuff going on when you're young, get it fixed, preferably before you get married or bring some kids in this world, or you know, get your shit together first in your head and seek help. Especially if you're suffering depression or ADD or I don't know, any sort of malady or something. So get help.
Hey, you're definitely right. You're definitely right indeed. That's right indeed. They say more money, more problems, or more problems, more money. That's right
Oh
to
yeah.
amplify everything
Uh,
else.
oh yeah, dude. It just I just gets totally worse. I just, you really, you know, I think the more money I got, the more successful I got, the more people just hated me. And they had a good reason to, because all my trauma and all my behaviors just get, you know, they get validated. Everyone tells you how great you are. And you're like, you know, you can be an axe murderer. And people are like, oh, you're buying all the beers tonight, Chris. You got money and successful. Yeah, you're awesome, you know? And you're like, oh, axe murder some more. And you know, it's
Oh
just
God, no.
you get all these you get all these sycophants that just they just fuel and support your worst thing. And it's funny, as long as you're buying those people around, but once you run out of money or once you put your foot down and like, I'm not buying drinks for everyone anymore, then it's like they disappear like vapor. And you're like, wow, I guess I didn't have any friends all on. Wow. So that's my advice.
Woohoo!
That and don't eat peanut butter and jelly tomato sandwiches. It's really they're fucking nasty. I'm gonna have nightmares all the time. You scarred me, man.
I got a feeling you're going to use that on one of your future guests now just for laughs and giggles.
Yeah, no kidding. Look, it's like the first time I was like, one of my friends at the office, he goes, hey man, you got to come over and see this on the computer. I'm like, what? He goes, come over and watch this. And it was Two Girls in a Cup. And I was like,
God, no.
dude, I can't ever fucking unsee that for the rest of my fucking life. You scarred me, you fucking piece of shit. Like, you could at least warn me about that. Like your peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the tomato on it, that's up there. That's up there. Congratulations.
Oh, hey, at least it didn't ruin you from ice cream.
Like they need to make it a etch a sketch sort of a thing for your brain, where every now and then if you see something you need to unsee, you can just wipe that thing, just shake your head a little bit, disappears. You're like, oh, cool. All your exes, you can just be like,
That'll be a dream come true, especially if you remember to avoid them too afterwards.
yeah. I mean, vodka will do that for a very short term, but you know, the next morning you'll wake up and oh crap, it's back again. It's like an ex that you break up with, and Then you're like, oh, let's move back in and try it again. Yeah, doesn't work.
Well, I know it does work is for folks to listen in on your show and catch up with all the stuff that you're doing, especially if you decide to publish even another book or even do an audiobook for this one. So if folks want to do that and more, what's the best way for folks to keep in contact with you?
Go to beaconsofleadership.com. Search for Beacons of Leadership on the Amazon channels there, or you can buy it anywhere in Barnes and Noble. You can buy it in Japan. Go to the chrisvossshow.com. You can see all the podcasts and everything we're doing over there.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Follow the one and only Chris Voss of the Chris Voss Show. That's right. I say one and only Chris Voss of the Chris Voss Show altogether because, you type in Chris Voss, you'll probably get 3 of them. So, just had I learned that lesson early on before in the homework stage of this one. I'm like, wait a second. Something seems off here. I'm like,
my assassins haven't found the other 2 yet. They're still working on
it. Yeah, one of them's probably definitely going to be harder than the other. I can probably sure.
Well, definitely with his background, but I just keep driving around his neighborhood, hoping I'll walk across the street in front of the car one of these times. So, what happened? I don't know. I was on my phone.
Well, I guess that's how you truly split the difference then.
Oh, dude, that is the best joke ever. Nice. Yeah. I gotta remember that and use it. Split the difference over the hood of my car.
Oh, man. Well, any parting words before we close up shop?
No. Get help, man. With the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the tomato in the middle of it. I don't know, man. I might have someone do a what is that thing where they do a call to your house so they come check on you or something? I think they need to go through your basement, man.
Everybody knows that the best listeners listen to this part of the interview when it's all over. To solidify your status as a champion, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a great 5-star review on iTunes, and share with someone that you care about and that would enjoy this content too. Keep being a fabulous, super special, awesome human for making it this far, and I hope you enjoy the next episode just as much.